The rain hammered against the windows of our small Boston apartment, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. Alaric, a 46-year-old software engineer, had always considered myself a rational man, a logical thinker. But the past few weeks had thrown my entire existence into chaos, a maelstrom of suspicion and dread. It all started subtly enough. Isolde, my wife of 15 years, a vibrant and passionate art teacher, had begun acting distant. The warmth in her eyes, the easy laughter that once filled our home, seemed to have faded, replaced by a preoccupied silence. She had come home late from work, claiming extra hours grading papers, but her explanations felt hollow, rehearsed. I tried to brush it off, attributing it to stress, to the pressures of her job. But the unease persisted, a nagging voice whispering in the back of my mind. Then came the phone calls. She'd rush out of the room to answer them, her voice dropping to a hushed whisper. When I asked who it was, she'd offer vague excuses, a colleague, a student's parent, but her eyes would dart away, betraying her discomfort. One evening, while Isolde was in the shower, her phone buzzed incessantly on the bedside table. Curiosity, or perhaps a deeper, more primal instinct, overwhelmed me. I picked it up. The screen displayed a string of messages from someone named Lysander. The messages were innocuous at first: thinking of you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. But as I scrolled further, the tone became increasingly intimate, increasingly explicit. I miss your touch, one message read. I can't stop thinking about last night, read another. My blood ran cold. The rational part of my brain struggled to process what I was seeing, to reconcile the woman I loved with the woman portrayed in these messages. But the evidence was undeniable. Isolde was having an affair. The shower stopped, and I frantically placed the phone back on the table, my heart pounding in my chest. I feigned sleep as she emerged from the bathroom, her face flushed and radiant. She slipped into bed beside me, and I recoiled inwardly at her touch. How could she? How could she betray me like this? The next few days were a blur of suppressed rage and silent torment. I couldn't bring myself to confront her directly, paralyzed by a mixture of disbelief and fear. I replayed our years together in my mind, searching for clues, for signs that I had missed. Had I been blind to her unhappiness? Had I failed her in some way? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I had done everything I could to be a good husband. I had supported her dreams, celebrated her successes, and comforted her during her failures. I had been a loving, loyal, and devoted partner. And yet, here I was, facing the ultimate betrayal. I decided I needed proof, irrefutable evidence that would leave no room for denial or manipulation. I knew it was a risky move, a violation of her privacy, but I felt I had no other choice. I installed a discreet voice recorder in her car, hoping to capture snippets of her conversations. I also started checking her credit card statements online, searching for suspicious charges. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. There were numerous charges at a small boutique hotel downtown, a place I had never heard of. And then there were the phone recordings, fragmented conversations, whispered endearments, and unmistakable sounds of intimacy. The evidence was overwhelming. The dam inside me finally broke. The rage and hurt that I had been suppressing for days erupted in a torrent of anger and grief. I confronted Isolde one evening as she was getting ready for work. "Who is Lysander?" I demanded, my voice trembling with emotion. She froze, her eyes widening in panic. I don't know what you're talking about," she stammered, her face paling. I threw her phone onto the bed, the incriminating messages displayed on the screen. "Don't lie to me, Isolde," I said, my voice rising. "I know everything." She burst into tears, collapsing onto the bed. "It just happened," she sobbed. "I didn't mean for it to go this far." "How could you?" I asked, my voice cracking with pain. "How could you do this to me, to us?" She offered a string of excuses. She felt neglected, she felt unappreciated, she needed excitement in her life. But her words rang hollow, devoid of any genuine remorse. I listened in silence, my heart hardening with each passing moment. The woman I had loved, the woman I had built my life with, was a stranger to me. The next few weeks were a living hell. We lived in a state of cold war, barely speaking to each other. I moved into the spare bedroom, unable to bear the thought of sharing a bed with her. I consulted a lawyer and the divorce proceedings began. Isolde begged me to reconsider, promising to end the affair and work on our marriage. But the trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. I couldn't forgive her, and I couldn't forget what she had done. As the divorce progressed, I learned more about Lysander. He was a sculptor, a Bohemian artist with a reputation for seducing married women. He was everything I wasn't: carefree, impulsive, and unapologetically selfish. I felt a surge of anger, not just towards Isolde, but towards him as well. He had knowingly preyed on my wife, exploiting her vulnerabilities and destroying our marriage. I wanted to make him pay. I started investigating Lysander, digging into his past, searching for weaknesses. I discovered that he had a history of financial troubles, that he owed a significant amount of money to various creditors. I also learned that he was deeply insecure about his talent, constantly seeking validation and approval from others. An idea began to form in my mind, a plan to expose Lysander for who he truly was. I contacted several art critics, anonymously providing them with information about his financial woes and his questionable artistic practices. I also leaked details of his affair with Isolde to his professional contacts, tarnishing his reputation and damaging his career. It was a calculated act of revenge, designed to inflict maximum damage. I knew it wouldn't bring back what I had lost, but it gave me a sense of satisfaction, a feeling that I was fighting back against the injustice that had been done to me. The divorce was finalized a few months later. Isolde moved out of our apartment, leaving me alone with the wreckage of our shattered dreams. I felt a profound sense of loss, a deep emptiness that seemed impossible to fill. But I also felt a sense of liberation, a freedom to start over, to rebuild my life on my own terms. I decided to leave Boston, to move to a new city and pursue new opportunities. I accepted a job offer in Seattle, a vibrant and growing tech hub. I sold our apartment and packed my belongings, leaving behind the memories and the pain. As I boarded the plane, I looked back at the city that had been my home for so many years. I felt a pang of sadness, but also a sense of hope. I knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but I was determined to move on, to heal, and to find happiness again. In Seattle, I threw myself into my work, immersing myself in new projects and challenges. I made new friends, explored the city, and rediscovered my passion for life. I started taking hiking trips in the mountains, breathing in the fresh air and marveling at the beauty of nature. I also started volunteering at a local animal shelter, finding solace in the companionship of the animals. Slowly but surely, I began to heal. The pain of the betrayal didn't disappear entirely, but it became less intense, less consuming. I learned to accept what had happened, to forgive Isolde, not for her sake, but for my own, and to move forward with my life. One evening, while attending an art gallery opening, I met a woman named Bront. She was a photographer, a kind and compassionate soul with a sharp wit and a warm smile. We struck up a conversation, and I found myself drawn to her intelligence and her genuine interest in my life. We started dating, and our relationship blossomed. Bront was everything Isolde wasn't: honest, loyal, and deeply committed to our relationship. She helped me to trust again, to open my heart to love. After a year of dating, we got married in a small ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. It was the happiest day of my life. I had found love again, a love that was stronger and more resilient than anything I had ever known. As I looked into Bront's eyes, I realized that I had finally found peace. I had survived the betrayal, I had rebuilt my life, and I had found happiness again. The rain still falls, but now I have someone to share the shelter.